Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to yet another episode of our Till Learn Talent Live series. Actually, this is the fifth episode in this series. And we are privileged today to have with us Dr. Abiodun Anifuwoshi. For a lot of us in our community, we must have read about who Dr. Anifuwoshi is, but I will give a brief intro. Dr. Anifuwoshi is a first-class graduate of University of Lagos, and proceeded to Georgia State University in Atlanta in chemistry department. And he moved on to Intel. For many of us, if we look at the machine we are using, if we are using a computer, we will see Intel written on it. So Intel is a global leader in the chip industry. And we are privileged to have Dr. Anifuwoshi here with us to talk on the topic from Unilag to Intel. From Unilag to Intel via Georgia State, navigating the pathways of global learning and career advancement. It's about 8:40 p.m. in Lagos, 7:30 GMT, and I think the time in USA, where he is right now, should be about
Time is 11:41.
correct. So thank you very, very much, Dr. Anifuwoshi, for joining us. We are so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. So, yeah,
Yeah.
tonight,
Mhm.
as we have said, is a privilege to have you join us. And his journey is a powerful testament to the impact of cross-continental learning and professional development. And we believe it will greatly inspire a lot of us to chart our path as we want to make maximum utilization of our um, talent and potential. Thank you very much. I would like you say hi to our listeners, Dr. Anifuwoshi.
Yeah. I am happy to be here as a co-host on this program, and I hope all of you guys that are watching at this hour will get the most uh, benefits that one could get from this kind of program. And yeah, I believe if you have questions after the session, I'll be more than happy to provide my insights to whatever things you may ask.
Great. Thank you. Dr. Anifuwoshi, let's start with this. Um, at the beginning, the University of Lagos laid the foundation for your impressive journey. Could you share with us what drove you to start there and how these early years rather,
Right.
shaped your aspiration?
Well, so to begin, I started at the University of Lagos in 2004, and I studied chemistry, as you may already know. Initially, I planned to study medicine and surgery, but as you may have guessed, due to my not so low score in JAMB, I think I scored 235, I think, at the time, and it wasn't sufficient for me to gain admission to study medicine. So a relative advised me that I could just do chemistry. And probably as most of us did at some point in our career at that level, trying to go to university or maybe polytechnic, we end up just going to study a course that we didn't initially plan for. So I ended up applying, changing my course to chemistry, and that's has its own many stories and drama, with having to going to change my course from medicine to chemistry at the jam office. But I don't want to go into all those details now. But eventually, my course got changed, and I eventually, fast forward, I was admitted to the University of Lagos for chemistry, and it was really a nice journey for me because uh, once at as soon as I got into the department, I planned that okay, I was going to do my best to come out as a as a high flying candidate graduate. So I put in all effort as most students do, and I ended up graduating at the top of my class. I mean, not like the top, but where like I think five of us graduated in first class. But I think one takeaway from my journey at the University of Lagos is that whatever we put our minds in, we'll always achieve it. So far, we are able to commit all the sacrifice and the requisite knowledge, time management, and all the disciplines that comes with actually striving to achieve your aim. You understand? So, because one thing I noticed about students generally is that we tend to give up sometimes. And honestly, not there's no good thing that come easy. Everything comes with sacrifice. Even if you want to get a job, you want to achieve success in school, in the university, polytechnic, everything comes with sacrifice. So that is one key takeaway from my journey at the University of Lagos. uh, because then I could have also given up. I didn't like attain the first class grade like easily. People who know me probably can attest to that. But eventually, I finished with first class, and yeah, also I had some experience organizing tutorials in the on the campus of the University of Lagos, spanning from the Faculty of Science to Education, and yeah, it was really exhilarating experience having to go through that tutorial because it also helped me uh, prepare myself because then I want to be seen as someone who is capable of teaching others. And how else can I do that if my own grades are not speaking for me? So yeah, I don't know if that actually covers something, but that's a little bit of my uh, experience spanning the 4 years that I spent at the University of Lagos.
Great, great, great. Fantastic. So insightful. Um, this leads us to after Unilag, you proceeded to GSU, Georgia State.
Right.
I'm aware my co-founder knew you in Georgia State, and he also testified. She talks about that. Okay, some people are saying we can't see. I can't see. I think there's a problem with people on Facebook saying I can't see us live on Facebook. Can someone confirm this? Wow. Okay, let me, because if we are
Okay.
talking and our
Yeah.
audience
Let's
can't
fix let's
seem
fix
to,
that first.
yeah, because this is a very
Yeah.
important process. So, yeah, Twitter is fine. Um, I think Twitter is fine. I can confirm that. Um, some people are also saying that LinkedIn is also fine. So, and from the gadget in front of me, is saying that Facebook is fine.
So
Um,
which is not okay? Is it?
I'm
I
not
think you've
sure.
mentioned like three of them. That's okay.
Yes. So, can somebody post a comment if you can see us and hear us on Twitter, so that we can really confirm if indeed okay, LinkedIn is fine as far as I can see here. Okay, it looks fine. It looks fine. Um, Join us. Okay, I think it's fine. I guess we should go on. If we
Yeah.
eventually discovered there's issue, the beauty is that we can always post the transcript on the wall of our platform so that people um, can get the content. Now, the only thing is just that some people may not be able to ask questions. So, but let's see how it goes.
It's
Um,
probably
yeah,
due to the bandwidth, the network. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, so we're talking about your transition to Georgia State. I know you were a scholar there in Georgia State, and yes. So, two questions on that, but I will take it
All
one
right.
after the other. Can you discuss the challenges you faced during that transition, if any? I suspect it wasn't also handed
Well,
on the
it's
platter.
of course, yeah. So I mean, it's always like I said earlier, right? It always comes with challenges, right? Also, as people plan to transit from one stage, or being it a career stage or a journey, whatever journey they are transiting from one phase to the other, there's always challenges that come with it, right? And I guess the challenges I'll start with will be the things that comes with trying to apply to the schools in the US. I think I started off with schools in the UK. Then I quickly realized that there are more opportunities in the US when it comes to students going to study abroad. Well, you know, some people can argue that, but I do think that the US economic is big enough to actually, and it's a lot of opportunity here, with the economic status of the US. So what that means is that there are a lot of universities in the US that offer some form of assistantship, which we like to call like scholarship, right? So there are fellowships that you can apply
Mm,
to. There are scholarships. There are graduate assistantship. Well, I think there are some differences in all of them, but it still boils down to one thing. The answer to one question, which is will I be able to get money to sponsor my education? And that is, I guess, one of the top questions among on the list of folks that want to study abroad, especially maybe from African countries. So I applied to universities in the US. A lot of them didn't have scholarship for me, or what I would say funding for me. But ultimately, I found Georgia State University that decided to offer me some form of assistantship to study chemistry at the master level, right? And well, I had applied for PhD, not masters, but apparently they didn't they didn't see my credential strong enough to start at the PhD level. So I guess that will be the conclusion of the admission committees, since they could not give me the PhD directly. So I ended up.
so,
Mhm.
sorry, Doc. Even with a PhD, sorry, with a first class, there was still a challenge to move on to PhD straight.
Yeah,
Wow.
there was a challenge, right? Because I mean, so most of the graduates, university graduates, or what US will call college graduates, coming to study in the US at the graduate level, especially PhD, right? They often have some form of publications, right? Which, as you may know, it's not something that we readily prepare for in Nigeria, so to speak. And I mean, there are a few of us that probably get to that level, like accomplishing some publications in their record. But well, at the time, I didn't have any publication. So, and there could be other things that they looked into that probably made them to decide that, oh, okay, this person probably is not ready for PhD, because PhD is essentially research. It's not like you can pass exam and then they just hand you PhD admission, right? So they basically want to see that this person is able to conduct research, right? And I believe that there are some of my friends who we graduated together at the University of Lagos that probably got into the PhD directly, but well, not me. I was under the master's uh, admission, but luckily for me, hello. Oh, okay. I thought I heard you say
Yeah, I'm
something.
with you.
So luckily for me,
No, no.
I think I only did the masters for one semester. So then I got switched to the PhD program. So I did a master for one semester, and even before the end of the semester. So there's this test that we took during the first semester. It's called the ACS test. I can't remember. I think academic ACS, Association of Chemical Society. I think, yeah. So there's this national test that we did. Well, maybe not national. So it was conducted at the Georgia State University, right, for us in the chemistry department. But they rank it using the national average. I mean, with the national other folks writing the exam on the national at the national level, and I mean, eventually I score at the like, I think I don't know how they I think 2%. The top, I think 97 percentile.
Top.
So yeah, I think at that time, I remember now. So at that time, I was the second highest in the old departments. You understand, or what I would say in the old school, right? So, and that gave me the opportunity to further my discussion to get transited to the PhD program. So I talked to one of my professor, and he talked to my advisor, and my advisor agreed that okay, looks like there is some opportunity for me, given that the school have some fellowships that they are handing to people who have shown some academic prowess. So I eventually, to cut the long story short, I got the fellowship to the PhD program. Uh, so yeah, eventually I got admitted to the PhD from masters after first semester.
Great,
Yeah.
great. So, two things I can quickly pick from this conversation. First, your view that, and as everybody will agree, the US is a bigger economy and the size comes with bigger opportunity. I'm aware some countries that have recently started some restriction bottleneck around Nigerians coming in for higher degrees in their
Mm.
countries. So this is possibly a case, right? For some people who are now saying, "Oh, we can't get a place," and all of that. That US is possibly a good place for you, and they are always
Right.
open for excellent talent, right? And the opportunities abound once you can put in the hours and you can do the work. That's one. Then the
Right.
other one is the fact that publication records, goes a long way. So for people who are already or who are beginning to consider um, to study for a PhD degree in reputable US university, it
Right.
might be worth the while to align themselves with more senior people in their area and see how they can support them, sometimes volunteer, right, to be part of their research team and join them in publication. Perhaps they may not be able to be first author, They may not be able to be first author, but to even be in the publication team and
Right.
see how that goes. So that can possibly be a way for some people to move on to the PhD track straight. Here's an opportunity to have live experience, right? Not theory, just live based on personal experience on what works and what may not work. Yeah.
Right. One thing,
Thank
though,
you very much. So just one.
yeah, yeah. I was just going to quickly chip in this experience of mine about my project at the university. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very
Oh,
well. I
yeah.
suspect
So
everyone
yes,
is hearing.
an experience about my University of Lagos projects. Okay, the work you do at the 400 level uh, of your program at the university. So the summary of it is that the title of my project was concluded as, even though I started it with the, I mean, I put it as what I think it should be, but my professor probably think, well, in fairness to him, in all fairness to him, I think, yeah, we didn't finish the synthesis. So it's about a compound that we synthesized. So the title of my school project was attempted synthesis. Okay, it's like now you are given a project to synthesize a particular compound, which in most cases, right, it's like a molecule of an organic compound, right? So we synthesize the compound,
Mm,
but we didn't really, the characterization didn't prove that we actually synthesize it, right? There could be some solvents, some, like, it's not a pure compound. You understand? And the characterization, I would say, suggests that we did not synthesize the compound. You know what I mean? So
mm,
but because we put in a lot of effort trying to get to the final product, which is what we do, right? In organic synthesis, we synthesize starting from the ingredients, the smaller molecules, combining stuff together to build a bigger one, right? Just like you have in the Lego game. So you put stuff, bricks together, and then form bigger stuff. So, but my professor concluded that, okay, with looking at the whole thing within the whole NMR, carbon NMR, HNMR, and all the characterization, mass spectroscopy, it couldn't confidently say that we synthesized the compound, because I worked as part of a team in that project, right? I think we were like three of my other University of Lagos students that worked on that project. So he concluded it as attempted synthesis of so and so, right? And it was a complex molecule. So, but well, that's not an excuse, okay? Just telling you. So I guess what that means, why I'm saying this is because if that project had been synthesis of so and so instead of attempted synthesis of so and so, then that probably could have altered my story uh, about going through the masters first and then eventually being considered for the PhD. So probably I would have gotten into the PhD
mm,
program directly if the admission committees at the University of Lagos can prove that, can tell others, can be convinced that this person of a truth is able to conduct research. Because if we were
mm,
able to actually synthesize the final product and we characterize it, we prove that we have a proof that like I don't know if this is a good analogy, like they say title deed, like there is an evidence that you have that thing, right? So but attempted
mm,
synthesis couldn't cut it, you understand? So that
mm,
probably also affected my not being able to go into the PhD directly straight. So attempted synthesis. So I guess what I'm trying to say to viewers who are still in the university is that they should do their best to ensure that their final class project is completed, like completed. No attempted something in your title. So I guess that will go a long way to
mm.
actually in that transition from college
Hmm.
to graduate program.
Hmm. So even the way we coin our project topic and also the scope of the research matters a lot, right?
Yeah, that's what I've come to to realize. Because then PhD it's about research, right? So if you cannot demonstrate that, I
Correct.
mean, folks can write things in their what's it called, statement of purpose, which some
True.
people call personal
Mm-hmm.
statement. That oh, I am enthusiastic, I am passionate. Those are words, right? Anyone can write words. You have to demonstrate. And how do you demonstrate? You
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate by the work of your hand, things that you have done in the past that can be tracked, that is verifiable, right? So those are the things that we open the door for you, when the time arrives.
Great. Great. Interesting. So I believe people must be having a rethink or should be having a rethink in some of the decisions they are making as they may have long-term effect on their future career.
Right.
Great, great. Um, this leads us to um, the cultural adaptation, right? Moving from Nigeria to the US, there are two different cultures,
Mhm.
culture, and there are cultural differences between the two countries. How did you, what was your experience around these cultural differences, and how did that affect your personal and professional development?
Um, so talking about that, as most people will come to realize that after they transit from their country, say Nigeria to say US, there's going to be a cultural shock, right? Because there are things that you do in certain ways that they don't just do that way in the US, right? And maybe UK or Australia, Switzerland, New Zealand, anywhere you find yourself, right, studying abroad, Finland, what have you. So, and that's cultural shock comes in different ways, right? It could be the food that is available for you to buy, because you are not, some people will come, right, they want to eat their, I mean, eventually you will find a place where you're going to get the kind of food that your tongue is used to, right? But there will be culture shock in that area also. But I think the biggest of them all is the currency, right? So people maybe in their first few months they will still be converting the using the exchange rates to convert the money they have in their hand. That is the naira. Let's say from Nigeria, they have in their hands to dollar to see how much is the value they are going to get from whatever they are owning in their hand. And as we probably can imagine, especially folks that are just coming during this period with the exchange rates of dollar to naira, uh, be, like really bad. So people struggle with that in their first year because they are not earning money, even though they have some assistantship, some form of assistantship from the school. They It's probably not going to be a lot, and some people end up uh, looking for jobs to supplement what they have. But so culturally, there will be all those factors, things that you are not used to. Maybe people, the way people dress, people may start poking into things around them, how people dress, and they'll be like, oh, why are people dressing this way? And it could be, like I said, it could range from the smaller, most subtle things to things that would like wow you, that oh, is this people is this, am I really saying what I'm saying? Is my eyes deceiving me? Are my eyes deceiving me? Things like that. But I think what I would say in all of this cultural shock is that people should learn to understand boundaries, right? Because that would ultimately help you to navigate the corporate world when you eventually graduate from from the school that you came to study, and you are working, right? Because one thing that is important in a workplace is that people should be aware of cultural diversity. You understand? And you can't begin to poke into people's business. So people have their culture. What is norms in Nigeria is probably not acceptable in the US and vice versa, right? So I think there will always be culture shock. People should just, expect that, prepare for that, and also be aware that, there are things they can't say sometimes. Like in the US, some things are acceptable. I would maybe some topics that border on gender, which I don't want to really go into the detail. In Nigeria, people may kind of some things baffle people in Nigeria. They will be like, "Wow, why is this thing happening? How can this be acceptable?"
Mm.
But in other culture, those things are acceptable and you can't question it. Even if you question it, maybe you would even be seen as someone who is harassing them, right? So I think that is one thing that people should bear in mind, that you can't question, we should not question other people's culture. Instead, we should embrace them, even if we don't accept those things as morally okay. We should just learn to stay like
Respect them.
respect. Exactly, that's the word. Respect them for how they behave. Like, the people behave in certain ways that we don't accept. What is the assurance that the way we behave they accept is acceptable to them, right? It's Some people see maybe
Correct.
what we eat and they're like, why are these people eating this food, right? But that is what we were brought up with, right? So I guess the takeaway from that is that there is diversity, there's cultural diversity, and that thing is going to go a long way in helping people, especially when they start working, because it's a diverse environment. And you know there will be conflicts if people start asking questions that are uncomfort that are not that people don't find comfortable. You understand? Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Great, great. So, in our part of the world, we like somebody will say being a busybody. We like being intrusive,
Yeah.
going into things that are not our business, right?
Mm,
When we find ourselves in a different culture, um, we should mind our business, right?
right.
And we should respect other people's, because
Right.
what's the assurance that even our own ways are considered okay? So we should
Right.
just let it be and just focus on our own thing. Thank you very much. Uh, Now, the other bit is continuous learning and upskilling. Now, something, um, 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 right? How do I say it? We found something fascinating about your journey, and that is somebody who was focused on chemicals, right? Just chemicals, and you know, coming from a background where for you to be a lecturer in chemistry, for example, some schools will say you must have your first degree chemistry,
Right.
master's chemistry, PhD chemistry, right? Now, somebody from that background moving to something totally different. Now, I read some of your papers. Some of them were on
Cancer.
cancer, yeah,
Yeah.
and some other very interesting things. And I now see you in Intel. What's the correlation? Obviously, if you are not excellent, Intel will not consider you in the first place. So how do you manage excellence in chemicals, they call it therapeutics, right? Or drugs, right?
Therapeutics. Yeah.
And now you are moving to chips. It's just something,
Microprocessors. Completely
yeah,
different.
microprocessor. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So how do you manage excellence in these seemingly totally unrelated areas? From chemicals, you move to medicines, and from that, you now are talking of wires and chips. So how did you,
Right.
tell
Well,
us about
so
this?
yeah, that's really interesting. And, I have asked myself, I mean, that questions in the past also, like, or maybe imagine that question that people may ask, that how was I able to navigate from the chemical world to electronics, things like that. And I guess I would say for me, talking about the technicality, the technicality and the maybe the challenges that may come with that kind of transition, it's more of a natural progression for me. And, being that I've been able to undo difficult situations, difficult things, challenges in the past. You understand? I'm not saying it's easy. That it was easy. That maybe it was like on a platter of gold, things like that. But I guess I I prepared for it. You understand? And when I say I prepared for it, it's not like maybe I knew at some point in time that okay, I was going to go to chemistry. I was going to get chemistry education and then move to electronics. I mean, if I knew, I could have just studied electronics, right? Maybe electrical electronics engineering or computer engineering or things like that. But you know, um, people some at some point in our life we tend to take on more challenging task or more challenging career, you understand. And also I won't shy from the fact that uh, the search for greener pasture was a factor in all of this transition, right? It wasn't just that okay, I love electronics or things like that, but I can like it and develop a you know an interest in it. You understand? I guess the summary is whatever thing I aim to achieve, I I tend to put my like commit to it and achieve it. And also maybe the fact that I did PhD also helped me to be able to manage the challenges that comes with that kind of transition because like I said earlier, right, PhD is more of research, doing research, and there will be a lot of times that you fail, and failing doesn't mean that you are not smart. It only means that what you think you are going to get, the kind of result you think you are going to get, is not what you are getting, and that is okay, okay, because it won't be called research in the first place if they think it's all just going to be a smooth ride and you just do one thing and it will just give you the desired results. If research is like that, then there's it's not going to be called research, right? So you fail at some point in time, you succeed at some point in time, and the success rate is always low at the PhD level. And what that's how that helped is that it's prepare one for the because so I guess I'll summarize it this way. So after going through PhD program, folks are able to withstand pressure because I must be honest with you, PhD is stressful. Okay, it will teach you, it will give you perseverance, tenacity, and resilience. You understand? You'll be able to cope with stressful situation. You understand? So navigate going from chemistry to Intel wasn't that easy in terms of what is required to actually make that transition okay for me, easy for me, right? But I commit to it. I committed myself to it, right? Because I know that if I fail, then I probably won't continue. You understand what I mean? Because at that level, when you are given a task, people want you to deliver on it. You understand? There are deliverables that you need to deliver on, and you can't afford to fail. That is not to say that there won't be failure, at some time, but you you being able to to think and intuitively give some, because they hire you at that level to provide solutions to problems. You understand? So if you are, I think the PhD prepared me, I should say, for that kind of life. So it's less of whether my chemistry education was relevant to uh, to to now dealing with electronics, microprocessor production, things like that. It's more of whether I have the tenacity, the intelligence to manage the challenges that come with it, because they are not just going to throw you into the maybe the fab or into all the works and just say, okay, start doing it. They are going to train you, right? So even if you study Yoruba education, they are going to train you. If they hire you, what they look for is that, okay, this person is smart, this person is able to think on his feet, right? That's all they need. They don't really care what, I mean, they care in a way what you study, right? I mean, even though I studied chemistry, chemistry was part of the qualifications, right? People who can apply to the job I applied for, right? So yeah, it was part of it, and yeah, and yeah, they interviewed and they just want to see that you have solved problem in the past and you are able to think uh, on your feet and get problems solved. You understand? So I guess to summarize, going from chemistry to Intel was possible for me essentially because I prepared for it. And this preparation, I would say, started not just at the PhD level, started at the University of Lagos, where I would go to places, as do most of my friends then, maybe different faculties, library to study. You understand? So I studied a lot, like try to ensure that my grades are on par with those of my colleagues, right? Like we had this phrase then that it's not about whether we're going to have A. Like A was kind of certain that it's about the raw score. You understand? Whether we are having 98 or 90 or 87, things like that. But like 90s. So it was more of a fun way of us preparing for exams at the time. And it sort of made it all fun then, when it was exam time, we're all happy trying to prove uh meant to, you understand? So yeah, that's why I
So
say it
what
was more of a
you said,
natural progression, handling the challenges that came with it.
great,
uh
great. So
yeah.
some questions are coming up from this thoughts you just shared. However,
Right.
I'm going to start with this. I remember um, when in another part of my life, I used to
Mhm.
have a supervisor who made a first class from UI engineering, mechanical engineering. So he will call me Bikunle. See, first class is very easy, right? I said, come on, Austin, why are you saying? He says, look, um, first class means having A's, right?
Mm.
Um, and A doesn't mean you've scored 100 over 100. It
Yeah,
means you've
exactly.
scored
Yeah,
70 out of
70
100 at
in
minimum.
Nigeria. Yeah,
So that means it's possible you actually have failed 30% of the marks,
yeah,
right? So
that
that
is
means
that is
30%, you
true.
failed 30%. So that's, I don't know what you guys are saying that. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just 70 at the end of the day. So in your team, your study group, you were always looking not to get that 70 because
Right,
it's constant. So you wanted
right,
to get A. Is it 90 or is it 95?
exactly.
Interesting.
Right,
Interesting. Now, you said something about problem solving. So problem solving being a skill or a skill set. Now,
right.
is it acquired? Is it something you can learn? Is it something you can develop or is inborn? What are your thoughts?
Hmm. I'll say it's more of a combination of um, both. Although you mentioned three things, I think I heard you said about whether it's inborn or whether it can be acquired. And what was the third one though? What was the third one?
Whether it could be
You mentioned.
inborn,
Mhm.
acquired, yeah, or inborn is inherited. So I guess
Yeah,
I meant
yeah.
inherited,
I think they
inborn,
are both. Yeah,
acquired.
they are both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a combination of both. Okay. So you have to have, and I guess everybody have uh, that intelligence. You understand that they are born with.
Hmm.
So what now determines how intelligent that person would be, will come to be, will grow to become, is one, the environment they live in. Okay, that has a big factor in it. And well, some people may argue, in fairness to them, they may argue that, well, I don't think environment affects, because there are people who are born in, and I will explain what I mean by environment, who are born in maybe the most of the slummiest place, you understand, and they are smart, right? I'll talk about that. But I'm not really talking about whether you didn't grow up in an affluence area, or you grew up in place that maybe some people call Ajegunle, which does not mean people there are poor, right? But you know what I mean when people say Ajegunle in coming from Nigeria. So,
Nigeria. Yeah.
but it's a combination of both. So if you don't develop your intelligence, your innate intelligence, you will there will be limits to what you know, because intelligence probably just mean that your brain is functioning properly. Honestly, I like to put it that way, just to argue that everybody has it, because if you don't develop it by consuming information, you'll probably be limited by what you know. Because even our brain, I can't remember the article or where it was cited, where it was written, but there's been studies that show that um, when people read more, like acquire more knowledge, their brain tends to, I don't want to say expand, but let's put it that way now, just, for layman to understand. And probably maybe the brain being going through that expansion would mean that the person is becoming more intelligent. But I guess the meaning of what I'm trying to say is that if we acquire more knowledge, our brain tends to develop more because we are giving it more information. It tends to perform its function more. Okay. And as it performs its function more, it's more alive, like it's not dead. You understand? And you can attest to this. And even me, things that we don't commit ourselves to, we don't prioritize, we don't, like maybe names that we don't, people that we have not really connected to, for a long time, we probably forget their names. Why is that? Because
Hmm.
we don't even relate with them, we don't call them. So we tend to forget a part of ourselves that is not used. And probably I remember this. So there's this study in biology. I think it's study of use and disuse. So what that means is that the part of our let me say cell now, or let me say the part of our body that we don't use, we eventually go into extinction.
Hmm.
And I think that person was trying to prove, evolution. I think it's Jim Baptist Lamarck. I'm not sure. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I think I'll check it after this session. But I think it was Jim Baptist Lamarck. So Jim Baptist Lamarck studied, I mean, worked on evolution, and he postulated the theory of use and disuse. Okay, That theory
Hmm.
exists in biology, but the name of the person, I think I'm 90% sure. Maybe people who are watching this may look it up, but again, 90% because I probably may have missed up the name. But the theory of use and disuse basically just says that if we don't use a certain part of our body, it will go into extinction. And extinction may go as far as the literal word of extinction, meaning it will disappear. So it was proving how evolution happened between going from ape to mama to our Homo sapien, being. You understand? And why I'm saying that is that if someone is intelligent and is not really studying, is he may be smart, excuse me, he may end up being the textbook definition of street smarts. Street smarts, you know what that means, right? You are basically just smart, and the fact that you are street smart doesn't mean that you know some complex topics, like maybe some complex topics in physics. If you don't study physics, you won't know it. If you don't study mathematics, you won't know it. So the fact that you are intelligent just means that you have that privilege, that opportunity, that tendency to understand something when you study them. But if you don't
Hmm.
study them, how will you understand it? So that's what I mean by environments also play a role, because then even have the if you really need to study something and you don't just study, you are just lying on your bed, not wanting to do anything, right? You will still not excel in that area which you are expected to deliver. You understand? So intelligence come with discipline. And I will tell you a story of how uh, my one of my relatives actually helped me, in my own educational career. So I think when I was in JSS one or so, so I lived with my sister, and her husband will always call me to go and look at one other lady that lived in the same compound. And that lady, probably he saw that lady reading, studying, and he want me to go and check what she's doing. And then I'll come back to tell him that, oh, she's studying. He will say, go and do the same thing, right? So, I initially saw it
Hmm.
as, well, I don't want you to compare me with others, but eventually I realized that it was basically helping my life. You understand? And I,
Hmm.
that led me to actually started studying. Like I started reading, like what we usually say today break, right? Like from night when everybody has gone to bed to sleep till the following morning. And at the time, even though I was learning a lot, I also,
Hmm.
created a subtle challenge for myself. And the challenge was for me to actually not sleep from that night till morning, till the dawn. You understand? So that
Hmm.
helped me to, I finished, like, people often brag with, but in all modesty, I finished like from cover to cover of this textbook, this biology that I was just talking from. It's
Hmm.
uh, it's called Modern Biology, written by, I think, Sarojini T. Romalingam, something like that. So I studied it. So like basically I knew everything like in that textbook, and I went on to teach in a tutorial center, many tutorial center, teaching biology and chemistry. So basically my summary of that question is that it's both inborn and acquired. You understand? Because if you don't develop
Great.
innate intelligence, I don't think people can go far.
Great. 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 So let me ask you a question, and I have an answer to it, but I'd like you to um, to answer the question. So the question is, um, did you need to know people before you A, got your place in the uni in US, B, before you got your job in a Fortune 500 company, did you need to take a note? Did you need to lobby? Was it about who you knew, what race or tribe you came from?
Yeah. So I guess my answer um, is that so actually I'm being careful to answer this because it's also more of combination of both. Okay, like both yes and no, I should say. You
Great.
don't need to in the sense that um, if you have prepared, if you have an excellent preparation starting from your university level, to maybe graduate level, if you have one, that's automatically, well, let me not say it's automatically, but it's not guaranteed. I don't know how that will be possible, but you can try to understand what I mean. It helps you, it presents you an opportunity to show yourself, for people to look at your resume. Just recently I was looking at some resumes, and I prioritize on folks that have some experience that can be verified, even though some of them eventually turn out to not be uh, not to meet the minimum expectation I require of them based on the things in their resume, but it kind of opens a door for you. It lets you into that door. Then ultimately, then you start speaking. Maybe they ask you questions and give you problems to solve, and probably you are not able to solve them, or and maybe that they can then make decision that okay, maybe you are not fit for the job. But why I said it's combination of both is that, so when you have so when your network, when you have a network of people that are strategically placed in different areas, being it in your educational circle, or in career level, at the career level now, looking for jobs might be a little easier in the sense that they could refer you to jobs, and they could probably recommend you also for jobs. And but ultimately it will boil down to whether you have the minimum requirements that they expect of candidates applying to that job, right? So that's why I say it's a combination of both. You understand? For me also, I got into Intel not by just applying on the job portal, right? I did apply there, but it was not very easy to actually got called for an interview by just applying on the website. But eventually, I messaged someone on LinkedIn who happened to be a recruiter, right, for Intel. And if I didn't have that person in my network, I probably won't be able to, get to the corridor where they will be looking at my resume,
To
right?
sell your skill.
Maybe they use some
Mm,
algorithm to filter out some resume based on some words, some keywords, and a lot of resumes would have been filtered out as a result of that. But that
mm,
network sort of helped me to gain that entrance into the door, for of folks that will be reviewing the resume. So because even if you are smart, you have the best results ever. If no one looked at your resume, then it's almost useless, right? So yeah, I guess that's
mm,
why if you have people who can speak for you, it will help. You understand? So
mm,
not in well, I think, and I'm being careful to use the word connection so that people don't
mm,
misunderstand the what I mean. But in
mm,
some people may define connection as maybe just lobbying, like trying to cut corners, don't go through the right channel, and then not even getting in without even having the right qualifications, right? But connection, what it means
mm,
is what it's actually means, suggested by the word connection. So you connect me to someone that you know, and that person reach out to me, and I send my resume. The person look at my resume, he sees that I am fit for the job, the right person for the job, then he hires me. If I am not the right person for the job, he doesn't get back to me, or he tells me that, oh, sorry, that the hiring manager is probably moving to another candidate that is more fit for the job, right? So, but I guess networking is good, is essential in navigating all of this educational career, uh, job,
Great.
life generally.
Great.
Yeah,
So what I hear is that um, excellence and talent is not enough. You need to also network
yeah,
with people in the area you want to be in,
yeah,
um, right? Using some networking platform like LinkedIn,
mm,
joining um, meetups, and possibly not be afraid to speak out and tell people what you are capable of doing,
yeah,
right? And they give you a chance. Great, great.
yeah.
So my scribe just messaged me that we need to be mindful of time, even though
Oh yeah,
um, we have we have a lot of things that we love to cover. However, I will just move to the Q&A section, and we have 10. I hope we're able to take the 10 questions I have here. Some of them we may have answered them previously, but I'll start with number one. It says, Dr. Anifoshe, considering your transition from academia to industry, what will you say was the most valuable skill you learned in university that helped you succeed at Intel? I think you've said something about it, but
I
again, you
think
can.
it's more of
I think problem solving.
yeah, yeah, it's more of that, and also uh, it's partly experience with navigating different environments. You understand, coming from Nigeria to the US, you became aware of cultural differences, and that way you are able to navigate the corporate world, where it is mostly uh, almost always different people in a team. When I say different people, people of different backgrounds and culture, right? You have folks from India, folks from China, folks from Philippines, different parts of the world. So that's culturally helped with navigating that diversify work environment. But problem solving, does is critical, right, in helping you to actually being able to be able to solve problems that you are faced with on a daily basis. And I guess uh, tenacity, it's a is a critical factor, right? Because a lot of the problems don't come easy, right? So you not being able to you being able to withstand all those pressure and continue pushing. You understand? Basically not breaking. You understand? It's something that comes from all those experience from the university.
Great, great. There's this adage that somebody who is used to getting water from the rock, when you take him to the lagoon, he will have it easier to get water out anyway.
Hmm.
Now, I'm jumping to number four. It
I
says,
cannot
in
hear.
terms
I
of
can't hear you.
upskilling,
Okay. Um,
okay, how about
yes,
now?
I can hear you now.
How about
I
now?
can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Great, great. So I'm jumping to the question because of time. It says,
Yeah.
in terms of upskilling, what resources or strategies do you recommend to someone interested in entering um, the I think it wants to say microchip field, or I don't know. Maybe I should just say for someone transiting to or getting a place in your industry? I guess I should help in recouching the
Yeah,
question to us.
yeah, yeah. So, if the person already finished their program at the university level, right, they probably can't go back to redo it. Maybe the person studied, say, uh, husbandry, animal husbandry, and fishing, things, fishery. If the person plans to study, maybe to then navigate to electronics companies, right? And he may say himself as not fit, right? I guess for someone like that, uh, assuming your degree is listed as uh, uh, as a requirement on the minimum qualification section of the job post, then that means that even if you think you don't directly have the electronics, the all the physics of microchips production and things like that, you still have a shot in the sense that they think you can apply, right? But you think you you are not like 100% fit for the job. So for that kind of person, what you do is use all the resources available online. It can even be YouTube, right? Like learn stuff. There are a lot of resources online that you don't really need to go to any school. Like I used to say to some people like that, in this age and time, people and I will be careful, saying this. I'm not saying people, I will not say people should not go to a formal, excuse me, to formal education, right? It is critical. They are going to accredit you, right? To say, okay, you have an A, you are qualified. We put a stamp on, excuse me, we put a stamp
Yes.
on it. We put a stamp on it. Thank you. That you are qualified, and the company can look at the diploma they give to you. They give to you and say, okay, yeah, this folks said this accredited institution says that you are good. Okay, so we will take you as good, right? But in cases whereby you don't really have that 100% fits diploma, right? That you don't have to do any other thing. Even if you have it, you're still going to talk, right? To the interviewers. So I guess what I'm driving at is that you can leverage on all these online resources, learn stuff. One example I will talk about now is people who are trying to delve into programming universe, right? They can literally learn any programming language on the internet today. Like they don't need to have any formal education. You know what I mean? So that will help them to be able to answer questions that will be asked of them during the interview. Because, like I said earlier, the companies that are hiring you, we train you. They are, as a matter of fact, they will see your certificate as a privilege for getting the job. You understand, right? With the interview. But they are going to give you, because you don't know how they do things in their own company. Even if you go to school to study computer science, you don't know how they what programming language they use, what tech stack that they use. You have to learn what they do, how they do it. You understand? They may even have their own like tribal set of knowledge and skills that they actually develop, and they will train you on those. So leveraging all those online resources will not go to waste, will help you to get through the door, and then after that the company will train you. So I think I'll just end it that way. Even for someone who studied, the particular program that the job is requiring for, it is always at your advantage, right? If you leverage all these online resources to prepare yourself.
Hmm. Fantastic. Um, Let me go to number 9. I'm just jumping because we have about
The
3 minutes
11 minutes.
to wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's three. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Says 49.
it's supposed to be 1 hour. Yeah. So it says, how do you see the role of AI and machine learning evolving in the tech industry, and what implication does that have for professionals in that field?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think one question that may not have been asked in that question, which I don't know if the person intends to ask that, is that okay? Will AI come to take our jobs?
My
I guess the answer
job.
to that is no. If that was intended in the question, the answer is no. AI will come to make our lives easier, not replace us, because there are people that, well, maybe some jobs will be replaced. I should correct that. Some jobs may be replaced by AI. Jobs, I will probably, off the top of my head, I would say maybe folks that write, because there are a lot of uh,
Tools.
ChatGPT, yeah, a lot of tools, ChatGPT, the Google Birds, you know, all of those tools can spin up a lot of write-ups within seconds. You understand? And I should be careful also in saying this, but I think, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that 100% of writers will lose their job, right? Because there are some tones that maybe AIs will probably not be able to infuse in your write-up. So, but apart from write-ups, a lot of other jobs could still be reduced, not replaced, with the advent of AI. And but generally speaking, AI will make our life easier. As programmers, I guess it will make your life to be more productive, in the sense that there are a lot of things that AI can just uh, produce for you. At the inputs of the right prompts into the AI tool, maybe ChatGPT or Birds. Uh, and But generally speaking, how AI evolution will impact our lives, I guess what I would say is that it will impact our lives in a lot of ways, and people should just get ready, prepare in terms of understanding how this technology works, how all these tools works, and because we don't know what will happen in, say, 10 years from now. You understand? A lot of, like, every day, a lot of research is being done to extract more values from all these AI tools. You understand? A lot of advanced AI models are being built to even solve problems in a more efficient ways. You understand? So it could be smarter, in years to come. So much so that you know maybe because we can't we I for one cannot really imagine. I can imagine in the sense that it will be great, it will be a lot of advancements in the AI world, but I cannot imagine what all the impact it will have on us as humans.
Mm.
You understand? Because remember when there was no mobile phones, right? People have a way of communicating, and maybe when there was no internet, people have a way of connecting. But now the norms is you just pick your phone and call someone, you go on the internet and browse something. So that has become the norms. Uh it will be weird for someone to say he wants to go and talk, he wants to talk to someone in Nigeria and then decide to maybe book a flight. You understand? You don't need to go there. So our lifestyle may change, I believe, will change, I believe, but how and to what extent it will change, I can't imagine all of it. But I know there's
Mm.
going to be a lot of, like, a massive uh impacts of AI on us.
Fantastic. I guess um, the future is bright, and um, for the people who are not sure yet, I guess the answer is AI has come to stay, but and it will continue to have impact on our lives. Um, Thank you very, very, very much, Dr. Anifo. One last thing. Do you have anything you want to share with us that we haven't previously talked about?
Mm.
Just to end with your final words.
Well, I think what I would say is that whatever level someone who may be watching this is in their career, uh, one thing that you need to have in mind is that people are going to expect the best of you. And even if you don't, if you think that, okay, you don't want to, you set a goal for yourself and you don't really care what people say. It is one thing not to care what people say. It is another thing to prepare for greatness and to always do your best on everything you do. Okay, so but people will always want to associate themselves with success, right? So if you are successful, people will always want to associate yourself with you, and you will always have the like you have one leg up when compared to other folks around you. You understand? So I guess what I'm driving at is that which in all that we do, we should strive for excellence. Whether we are still in the university or we are already in the corporate world and trying to advance our career, we should strive for excellence. Because just as we have, academic rating like B's and A's in the university, we also have reviews in the corporate world, whereby you will be all what you have done probably in the past quarter will be reviewed and examined, and then you will be rewarded based on that, either by way of promoting you or by way of increasing your pay, or by way of giving you some restricted stock units. And it will always be to your advantage if you strive for excellence. It's not going to be easy, and it's not always easy, but I guess at the end of the tunnel you will always come out uh, better and bigger and with more opportunities, are available to you.
Great, great. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Anifuwoshi. It's been absolute pleasure discussing your journey and
Yeah,
insights
thank you.
with you. Your story is a beacon of inspiration for cross-continental learning and career
Thank you.
advancement. To our audience, we say thank you for joining us. And for those who have and still are having challenges joining on Facebook Live, I promise you we're going to upload this content onto Facebook, and we apologize for that. My colleagues have been trying to troubleshoot, but we'll certainly put the content on our YouTube channel as well, also that this great episode can actually have the broad reach that it should have. Um, say thank you again for joining us. Remember, the
Thank you.
journey to global impact starts with a single step and is continuous. It's driven by continuous learning. Um, and the key to unlocking unimaginable opportunities lies in learning tenacity. Um, Thank you very much. Join us next time on the live program as we discuss more insightful topic. We will be keeping you up to date. I mean, our community up to date with the next guest. And we say thank you very much. Good night to the viewers in
In
Nigeria and
Nigeria.
Europe. For some people who are in Asia, we say good morning. And for people in America, we say good morning to some and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Anifuoshi.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate you once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.